Hello, hello, and welcome to the Paisley Penny Arcade. How are you? I hope you're having a wonderful day. Hope you're having a wonderful week. I hope you're having a wonderful year. I hope you're having a wonderful life. That's what I hope. Today, we are going to continue on my series on my Major Arcana, and so let's do that. Today is Wednesday, the 19th of August, 2026. And isn't it a joyous day? I hope you're having a good time. I am. I'm having a pretty good time. I was just listening to Jerry Garcia singing Sugary. Wow. Wow, does that put me in a good mood? We all miss Jerry. We really do. And I'm a deadhead. I mean, I listen to the music and so on, and I just get lost. Renee, how are you? So good to see you in the chat room. And those of you who are listening live, if you'd like to join me, all you have to do is go to YouTube at Mo Abdelbaki, Moabdelbaki. That's all there is to it. And sign in and, say howdy. It's very easy to do. Anne, bonjour, Anne. Oh, it's so good to see you. C'est bien. Yeah. And it is great to see you too. Yeah, listening to Jerry just mellows me out. I was listening to some Grateful Dead before that, and I thought, I want to listen to Sugary. If you've never heard Sugary by Jerry Garcia, you owe it to yourself to just sit down, take a deep breath, close your eyes, and just listen to that. Not everyone's a Grateful Dead fan. Not everyone is a Jerry Garcia fan, and I don't know why. I can't understand it. Yes, I'm a simpleton. There's no doubt about it. I am something probably wrong with me. What can I say? But wow, man, could he play? And it's a great song written by Bob Weir. But oh my God, I've forgotten his name. Bob Johnson. No, I don't have to think about it. It'll come. It'll come. I'm getting along in my ears, Eventually, I'm gonna have to start talking like this, like an old Western cook on a wagon train. Yeah, yep. Ring that old triangle, ding a ling a ling a ling. Come and get it. Yeah. So today we will continue on the Major Arcana. See how far along we can get. I might just go ahead and I'm going to take a little break when we're done with the Major Arcana, but I may go along with the rest of the deck. Talk about the rest of the cards because I kept thinking I'm going to write a book. And I found a bunch of old things that I had written about Tarot. And I kept thinking, wow, this stuff is really kind of rotten. Just pretentious. And I wrote it in an occult style. And because I'd been reading Crowley for 50 years, and it gets to be kind of in your gut, in your noggin, two different places. But and I thought, man, this stuff is weird. It's good if that's what you want to write. And I think I didn't know if I wanted to write it that way. It's just that's how I wrote it. And I realized I don't know if this is good for anybody. I don't know if there's anything really that good about it. Is it really the type of thing that one should write about? It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And so what I went ahead and did was, I still have it. The stuff about it all makes sense to me because I wrote it and I know what I was trying to say. But would it help a new person reading Tarot? No. Would it help A lot of people who want to discover more about Tarot, and would it help them in their, no, not especially. So I think this is going to help people more. We ended with death last time, the death card, and of course I think it it's common sense to say that the death card doesn't often mean death. It means the end of this particular cycle of something, whatever it is. We all go through the death card many times every day. Something begins, something ends. It's not about it just isn't about death. Often, it's Scorpio energy. It's about emotions. It's about a lot of things, but every now and then it is about death. You know, and death is a part of life. I'm dealing right now with a lot of emotions. I'm missing my friend who died a couple of years ago, and it's just really coming up hard. I miss him terribly. We knew each other since we were 15 years old, and we lived a lot of life, and he was there for me, and I was there for him. And it's just really hit me hard. What can I say? He died unexpectedly. And it's like, wow. I've lost a lot of friends over the years, and, you know, yeah, he was a tough one because we still got together many times a year. We went and had Indian food together. I haven't had Indian food since. And this will be in February. It'll be the third year of his death. And so maybe it's because we talked about that death card last week that it's welled up so hard. Tarot is funny that way. When you work with a card, when you talk about a card, when you meditate on a card. Hello, Lisa. Aloha. How are you? That's good to see you. When you work with a card, it can bring up a lot of a lot of feelings as well. And one of the cards that is the most powerful in that way is the Three of Swords, sorrow. I discovered that many years ago, and I discovered it in a terrible way. Terrible way. I don't even like to talk about it, but when I do discuss that card, as time comes up, I will tell you the story. And it's a painful story for me. It's one that hurts a lot. But I will talk about it, and I hope I don't cry when I talk about it. I may. But I realized something very powerful about life and about who we are and about feelings, and I'll discuss it. I'll discuss it because it's real, and I think that it deserves to be talked about. There are some things that we need to discuss. There are some things that are so genuine that they have to be openly discussed in life. Yeah. I'll also openly admit that I'm a goof sometimes, and that I say things I shouldn't, and that at times I make mistakes when I do so. But I try and do the right thing. Not always easy, it isn't always easy to do the right thing and say the right words, but I do try. So, but I try and be as honest as I can. I've always been that way. I've always tried to be, and when I speak my honesty, not everyone is up for it. That's something about Tarot as well. Honesty. Tarot is honest. Tarot never lies. It also doesn't pull punches. And that is something about it that can be difficult at times. Okay, so let's jump right in. That being said, people are going, I don't know if I want to do this. Yeah, you need to do this. There is something about it. My friend Bill, who died, a lot of my friends are gone. But I'm glad to be here. Trust me. I am very glad to be alive. I love life. He was pretty honest with me. He was a pretty good guy. So, here we are. Let's look at the Arcana, should we? Here is the next card. Art, also known as Temperance. Yeah, I love this bee. I like bees. I was stung as a kid, and I learned right then and there. Yeah, you don't step on a dandelion. I wasn't doing it on purpose, but I watched from then on. I must have been about 3 years old. You remember those lessons? Um, but the original card, the concept of temperance, temperance, fortitude, prudence, and justice, the four cardinal virtues. They are in the Bible, all four of those. And the idea of temperance has to do with the idea that in the beginning, no one drank wine. Well, maybe my ancestors did, but and wine is pretty rough stuff. I had some wine in Egypt when I was 18. It was called arak, and arak was made out of date. It was date wine. I ran it out of dates, and it was the strongest wine I've ever had in my life. It was really. It was good, but it was like whiskey. But it wasn't whiskey, it was wine. And I thought, oh my goodness, and this is what wine was like. This is what wine was about once upon a time. And in Rome, you didn't drink wine straight. You couldn't. You drink this stuff and you'd be under the table before you knew it. So temperance was about watering the wine down. You mix it, and alcohol and water are miscible. They mix together very well. They mix together very well, and so that's what you see in the old cards with the angel there pouring the mixtures back and forth. It was considered gauche at the very least, and reprehensible to drink wine straight. So they did that. Now, something else that they did was they added salts of lead to sweeten the wine, which it will do. But it also will bring the downfall of the empire. They used lead plates, lead plumbing, plumbus, right? Plumbus, which leads to the word plumbing. Hence lead pipes, and that's of course what brought the downfall, they think, of the Roman Empire, which causes lead poisoning, which causes all sorts of problems, including mental problems and brittle bones. And I remember I took in college, the rise and fall of the Roman Empire, and at the very end it was like, this is what caused the downfall of the Roman Empire, and I thought, what a letdown. Lead poisoning. And he kind of did it. The professor did it all in the last day. And that is what caused the end of the Roman Empire. And I thought, really? That's how we end it? Go through all this stuff. But that is kind of what did it. So you say, all right, there we are. So, but this card, the card Temperance, is about much more than that. In Hermeticism, it's about alchemy. It's about the mixing of things and how things are done. And it's about precision. And the true alchemical process is there are different types of alchemy, and it's all done supposedly to turn base metals into gold, something Sir Isaac Newton to us, tried to do for most of his life. In the last 40 years of his life, that's what he did. He tried to turn base metals into gold. And date wine, oh, sounds good. You darn tootin' it was good. But very, very strong. Very, very strong. But very good as well. I was sitting there drinking date wine and smoking Cleopatra cigarettes. And the date wine had Nefertiti on the label. Yeah, quite a time. With my dad, and he drank very little, and I drank very little too because I was 18, and his cousins, and they were, and they didn't drink to excess. It was, But it was quite a bunch of fun, I must say. And Johnny Walker Red. Yeah, yeah, yes. And you're thinking, wait, isn't that an Islamic state? Yes, it was, and they were all Muslims. But Egypt is Egypt. Egypt is Egypt, and that Iraq was. I drank Lebanese Iraq once. I had a friend who was a history TA. I was a history major, and he was the TA in the class, and he and I were very good friends. And he had been bribed by a Lebanese student for an A, and the guy had a strong A going anyway, so he saw no problem in taking this drink, this Iraq, which was kind of an ouzo laced with I can go ahead and say it. Statute of limitations is over. Opium. So we drank this stuff one night. Oh my goodness. But that was a different drink. Same name, different potency. But different, but same name. Anyway, so this alchemy, we're talking about gold, all compared to the sun. And in the animal kingdom, the gold is honey. So the bees are the alchemists. And I just love that idea because the alchemical gold of the animal kingdom is honey. And honey is a natural healer, it's a natural preservative. Mummies that were just put into honey, as Alexander the Great is said to have been just put into honey, um, bodies that were put into honey do not corrupt. They are like that forever. Um, it's quite odd. They just they're perfect, and we all know about the healing properties of honey and how it's an antiseptic and it tastes pretty darn good and it's produced by these incredible insects with this perfect society. And we are so stupidly destroying them. I just had to draw a bee. And they're such perfect creatures, I think, with a perfect society. And they know the geometric figure, the hexagon. And they know it, the perfection of it. And they're geniuses, and they were created geniuses. And here we are. So they are the artists, and the artist is um, the alchemist. So there you are. That is my alchemist. That is my art card. I just think it kind of sums it all up. Um, Alchemy is a very complex subject. I'm not going to get into it here, but and the true art is in some aspects is magic. And what is magic? Magic is about working with nature. It's not about subjugating nature or overcoming nature. It's a very it's just kind of understanding nature and working with it. Let's leave it at that. I think that's a good place to leave it, don't you? Yeah, so that's my art. And reading it is very simple, I think. Temperance, I just never really kind of felt that was the proper. When Crowley suggested the art card, I went, yes, 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 yes. It's a mixture of science and art together. And that's what makes it. And the bees work very hard, and they have a very great society. And the ancient Egyptians understood this. They had a symbol for the king and for royalty, and that was a bee. That was a bee because they got it. You know, everyone supports the bee, and the bee basically, you know, lives its life for the hive. I love that. I love that. Yeah? Okay. We'll keep moving because we got to keep moving. 15. The devil. Now, I have a little piece of paper here, and it says, Où est le diable? And what that really says is, who is the devil? Who is the devil? And there's a Ouija board. And I'm a fan of Ouija boards. I don't use them anymore, but I do like them. I think they're kind of an interesting statement of who we are as creatures, you know. Oh, Renee says, guess what? I picked up your deck and turned it over, and it is the art card. Oh, I love that. I love that, Renee. Cool. Very cool. Very cool. Um, very cool. Um, yeah. Who is the devil? Well, I did this as a pun because I'm not a true believer in the concept of the devil. Um, and so what I did is I have a little pun here, because it's a French Ouija board, and so it says, or actually most Ouija boards, well, you know, the Ouija board comes from two words, the word we and the word ya, correct? We ya, yes, yes. So so who is the question written down before going to the board was, who is the devil? And the planchette is pointing to the word we. So it's going yes. Let's see, who's Denise? Hello, Denise. Hang on. There may be a sneeze coming. If I'm smart, I'll mute myself, but I usually don't get there fast enough. Hello, Denise. Welcome to the room. So what I did is I said, who is the devil? I had the planchette pointing to we. We are the devil. I like that. I just thought that was kind of fun. Because I think we generally are our own devils. That is, I think we can see a lot of that right now in our society, in our culture, and in our world. That oftentimes we are our own diablos. Yeah, I don't know what the plural would be. But Anne knows, and she's hopefully not laughing too hard at my stupid language problems. So that's very simple. What is the devil? The devil is whatever in the moment fits the bill, in my opinion. It's search for power. It is negating the needs of others. It is the desire for too many things. It is greed. It's lots of greed. It is more greed. It is lots and lots of greed. It is more greed and lots of more greed, in my opinion. Especially when there are people who do not have, people who are going hungry, and there's lots of that. So that's my devil card. Yeah, the devil is not in the Ouija board, right? Not at all. I started using a Ouija board when I was 9 years old. Yeah, that's a different story. The next card, the Tower. Let me explain this one. Why a Moai, Rapa Nui, or Easter Island? And why does it look so barren? You know, Pamela, hey, better late than never. It's good to see you. I'm happy to have you. We're all happy to have you. Welcome, Pamela. I've told this story before, but I think it bears repeating. The Tower is a warning card. It warns. As you can see, there is like a divine eye, and I think the lightning is coming from that eye, in my opinion. Divine retribution, and why the Moai? Easter Island, which is now, there's some vegetation there, but not a lot. There are people living there. There's a runway there. There's an airport. There are people living on the island. There's a problem with garbage, from what I understand. There's bars and places for tourists to go, and probably motels. I know people who have been there. And once upon a time, it was a lush tropical paradise, and there were pigs, and there were, people, lots of people, and there was enough of an ecology to sustain everyone who lived there. And there were a couple of different clans. I don't know how many. I should do some research before I just start yapping. But I saw a couple of different shows on this, documentaries, And what happened was they basically ate everything that was on the island and it drank up all the fresh water. And eventually, because there was no ecology mind, they had to resort, I hate to say it, to cannibalism. To cannibalism. And the tribes began to murder each other. And eventually it was just no trees, it was barren and it was a mess. And so it's a cautionary tale. It's a cautionary tale. Something that has to be really thought about. And that's the Tower card in a nutshell. St. Barbara, her father kills her, murders her in that tower, and the sky opens up and God destroys the tower because he's so angry. He lets it happen, doesn't he? God, whatever it is, whatever he or she, lets the tower be destroyed. Why? That's not very nice, is it? But it sure tells a tale. It sure lets a story be told. But this is a true thing. I'm not trying to say the other isn't, but this happened. And look at what's happening to our earth right now. I live in Colorado where we're going through a level 1 drought. And we're expecting the biggest El Nino, I think, in years, decades, maybe ever. Man, are we not paying attention? Man, it's happening. It's happening. The tower, okay? And that's why I made the tower this moai that is just sticking out of this barren area, because we're not paying attention. And I always think that the tower card is saying, pay attention. I did another tower card, which was a Zeppelin tower, and Zeppelin coming in a lightning storm trying to dock. But I just feel this one makes so much more sense, Yeah, that's that. Okay, let's move on. The star. This is a real place, at least in my mind, it is. I discovered this once on I'll call it a meditation. Perhaps it was an astral projection. I don't always know the difference. And this is why I make my chariot a mala, because it was on a meditation, and I was in this forest, very thick forest, and I happened upon this place. It wasn't on fire, but it was a clearing, and in the clearing was this great metal star, very, like 30 feet tall, and iron, and it was just, and I was just stunned at how beautiful it was. A big pentagram, I'm sorry. And I walked around it, and suddenly I was floating around it and through it, and it was just remarkable. And I could touch it, and it was cold, and it was marvelous. And I just suddenly reared back and hit it with my fist, just gonged, with my knuckles, and boom, and it gonged. And then it began to vibrate more and more and more, and then it burst into flames. And it was just wonderful. It was just wonderful, just burning, 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 burning. And it was doing it so remarkably. And it was yes, it was hot, but I wasn't burned up or anything else. And it was just flaming. It was so cool, and this place was wonderful. And I could still go through it and around it. I was caught in the air drafts of the flames, and it was just incredible. And I felt powerful and alive, and eventually it was red hot. And when I say red hot, that's exactly what I mean. Red hot. And the flames went away, and it was just this red hot, and I could just feel the energy of it going into me. And then finally it cooled down, and I kind of came out of it. And I used to take people there. And after about a year or two of taking people there in meditations, um, the place got littered. It was incredible. The place was littered with garbage and like clothing, and so I had to shut it off and stop taking people there. And now it's clean again. And it's weird, but that's the star. It's a real place. It's a real place. Maybe I'll take people there again. I don't know, but that's my star, and it is refreshing and rejuvenating, and and but I've had to close it off again. But it's in this forest, so that's my star. It is everything the star should be. It is an opening to a place that is without a doubt one of the most amazing places I've ever been. And that's, but I read that as just a place of great, um, when I read cards, I mean, I see the star as something that rejuvenates, something that, and you need to rest, you need to reform, you need to um, do something that is healing for you. And it's contextual, of course. Yeah? Okay. Who's in the room? Raven's in the room. Oh, my friend Raven. Hi, Raven. It is so good to see you. Welcome to the room. Awfully good to see you. Good to see you there. Yeah, just talk about. I think did you ever do a meditation where you went to the star in the forest? I was probably still taking people there back then. Um, yeah, because Raven did a lot of my classes, a lot of my meditations. Yeah, the moon. The moon. The moon is a very misunderstood card, I think. The moon is about um, well, it's about so much. The moon is a powerful card because it's about ah oh, Denise did. Oh, you went there. Oh, I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but did you feel it? Did it did it mean something to you? I imagine you can still go there because the people who respected it, I think, can still go there. Um, because I didn't try and block it off to everyone, just those who didn't, people who left things there. I didn't like it, so because it's a pristine place. I'm fond of pine forests and oak forests as well. Um, yeah, I hope it was good for you. I hope it felt good to you. Um, the moon. The moon is about power. The moon is about one thing that I think people don't always understand. As we age, as the moon ages, it seems to become less and less powerful to people. But in fact, we can become more powerful as we age. We can become stronger. And although our bodies may become less reliable in some ways, I suffer from vertigo. And I thought I was kind of getting better, but I just had a vertigo attack a couple nights ago, not long before going to bed. So that wasn't bad. It was still not happy, it was still not a joy, but at least I was able to go to bed and as I call, sleep it off. But still, we become hopefully stronger in other ways. Now, the path of the moon, one of the images of the moon is of the two towers. And there is this, in some, there is like a river. And you have to take that river between those two towers. And that's a feeling of helplessness that you have. In some, It's an eclipse. That's what I've shown here is an eclipse of the moon, the blood moon. And in the Rider Waite and in the Crowley deck, it's an implication of drops of blood from the moon. It's menstrual blood, but it's like the last menstrual cycle is implied. It's the end of that. It's menopause. And once upon a time, menopause was considered, um, you know, uh, dangerous because, and that was when women were pushed out of the villages and into the forests. And that's when they became, um, you know, they became shunned, which is horrific to me, absolutely horrific. Uh, they were then sought out to be herbalists, and they be they were, they. I mean, it's just terrible the way women have been treated throughout millennia. That was not the case in ancient Egypt, I'm happy to say, but um, Greece, there was a lot of that. There was an old saying in Greece that a misogynistic friend of mine in college taught me, and that was paternity is always suspect. And I thought, wow, what a terrible thing to say. But that's what the Greeks genuinely seem to believe. And so that blood is the path that one went through, and it was a path of um, fear. You know, it was a path of fear. It's the path of Pisces. And it's not saying that a Piscean path is scary, but the very myth of Pisces is one born in fear. I won't get into the myth right now, but it's kind of a scary story. But it's born from Eros and Venus, or Aphrodite, um, taunting Typhon. And they come to a cliff, and Typhon is right on them, and they realize that they're about to be destroyed. So they jump into these really terribly dangerous waters, and they link themselves as fish, and hence Pisces is these two fish that are linked by a very long line. But here, what I've done is I've said, okay, here's the moon, and the moon has um, this wonderful marking on it. And the wonderful marking is seen as many different things. It's seen as a goddess, and you can see the face of the goddess and her very distinct hairstyle, which is seen as Diana, which is seen as Aphrodite, which could be seen as Wilma Flintstone if you wanted to. It's seen as an Easter bunny holding an egg. It's seen as Sisyphus carrying a rock. And because of the moon going up and down the ecliptic every month, pushing the rock down, or not pushing it down, but rolling it down and then having to roll it up again. And I believe that is exactly where the story of Sisyphus came from. Seeing as a man or a woman carrying a big bunch of sticks, seeing as a hare that leaps not every month, but Osiris was known as the leaper, Unnefer, the beautiful one. And seeing as the man in the moon, I met the man in the moon in my 21st year, I think, 21st or 22nd. And I've seen him ever since. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Wilma. We look pretty similar, actually. Um, and so I made sure to put those different outlines in this card because they're all illusions. They're all illusions. The fears we have, most of the fears we have are illusions, including the fears at night that we have. I used to be filled with fears as a kid. I was filled with fears because I spent some time in my youth living in a haunted house. And I was, to put it bluntly, terrified because I saw a ghost and I heard a ghost screamed at me, and I saw things and heard things and felt things that were quite malicious, I will add. And so I was able to finally, I will say, conquer. I'm wringing my hands as I'm speaking. But most of the things that scare us, um, and Pisces is the natural 12th house of the zodiac. So before we can really move forward, we have to conquer our fears, don't we? And the moon, as it's being eclipsed, can bring about. And I watched a full eclipse from its rising all the way until it was completely uneclipsed, which is not English, and that took hours. So this is about so many things. It's about the journey from the beginning to the end. And yes, you may be being watched, but ultimately, for me, the man in the moon is friendly. And I love him, and I love all the faces of the moon. And Thoth, the ancient Egyptian god of wisdom, medicine, magic, he writes it, but it is Anubis, the dark side of the moon, the side we never see, who is the true enactor, if you will, although Thoth does quite a bit. But it was Anubis who did the stuff that is really kind of scary. And I believe that Anubis has been a part of my world much. Someday I'll tell you some stories that may certainly curled my hair. But this card is about kind of beginnings and endings and beginnings and endings. It's the churning waters. You don't know what you're going into, but that's the beauty of it, you see. That's the beauty of it. In medieval times, menstrual blood was believed to have incredible power, dangerous power, especially that particular type, menstrual blood that was from a woman in her menopausal years, when it was that last tincture, that sort of thing. And I don't mean to offend anybody, but that's just the truth. That's how it was viewed. So the moon card, and in the moon card, like in the Rider Waite, you see a crayfish. And the reason that crayfish is there, because the moon has taken all the water away. It's like a tide has come in or come out. It's drawn all the water away, and you've just got this. And have you ever been somewhere where the tide has drawn the water out and it's kind of creepy? You have this feeling, all the water's out, and all these fish, and and it's there's kind of this strange feeling, and there are these weird smells, and there's this spooky feeling, and that the water's going to come back. But for now, right? The moon has power, and that's the emphasis here, is this incredible power. Don't forget that, Hello, Meg. How are you? Let's see. She says, I'm less sophisticated than you, Mo. I put Keith Moon's face in the moon in my... Well, that's fine. I love Keith Moon, but for similar Piscean, man in the moon reasons. Yeah, Keith Moon. Low tide. Yes, Renee, low tide. Ebbing tide. Rebat. Keith Moon, for those of you who don't know, was the drummer for The Who. And a great story about Keith Moon was that he was in his room, and I can't remember if he was practicing. I don't think he needed to practice, but he was making a lot of racket. And the person below his room in the hotel, and I think this is true, called the management and said, the person in the room above me is making a lot of noise. And so they called his room and said, "Sir, you have to be quiet. The person below you said you're making a lot of noise." And Keith Moon began jumping and doing so much damage that he actually broke through the floor to the room below. And when he crashed through the room below, he said to the guy, "Now that was noise." That was Keith Moon. He was nuts. I actually have an album of his, one of the best albums I have. He was really something. He died many, many years ago, but I was a huge fan of Keith Moon and The Who. I got a chance to see them in Baton Rouge, but the concert was, get this, $7. And I was a poor student and I didn't have $7. That's okay. Let's move on. The Sun. Ah, the Sun. This is now in ancient Egypt there was a green hill, and it was known to the Greeks as Heliopolis. And this green hill was where the sun rose. My aunt at Crom, she lived in Heliopolis, in a building that was 600 years old. They had to replace the stairs every now and then. And it was this huge, almost black building. And I was there, and what type of stone is this? It wasn't like marble or anything. And I scratched it, and it was white underneath. And her husband, who was one of the nicest human beings I've ever met in my life, he was a general in the Egyptian army, and he said, "Look," and he scratched at it, and underneath it was white. He said, "This is limestone taking from the outer casing of the Great Pyramid of Giza, Khufu's." And I said, "Oh my God!" And yeah, a lot of Cairo was built from that. But this is not that. This is an autobiographical story. I'm not going to tell it right now, but I saw this. It was a place in Fort Collins, Colorado, at a place not far from the Nature Center, a place that was out there. And it turned out to be part of CSU. It was a place where they were testing for lawns. And a friend and I were out there, and there was a little hill, and on top of the hill, there was a windsock. And there was this. And I don't know if he saw it, but this is what I saw. And it just so happens that this is where the name of one of my characters came from, Paisley Windsock. And I'm telling you this. I may not have told this story before, but this is indeed where that name came from, Paisley Windsock. And this is the sun, and this is the wondrous nature of the sun. And I believe that, to me, this is what, and this doesn't matter if this is what Paisleys really stand for, but Bote, they're called, and I believe that they are life force energy, that they start out as seeds, and these seeds open up, and they are joy, they are life, they are seeds of wonder, they are colorful, and they fill. Pamela, you missed Paisley. He's around. You can trust me. He no longer does what he used to do. This was quite an afternoon, I can guarantee you that. We had no idea where we were. We were just wandering in the nature center. I was 20. Was I 20? 19 or 20. 19 maybe. And it was a yellow or orange sunshine day. Oh God, I'm saying too much. And God, my friend Jeff. God, Jeff. I miss Jeff so much. He was so upbeat. So, boy, did we used to laugh. He's gone, of course. And yeah. Raven. and yeah. And and I saw these Paisleys, and I saw the sun blowing, and I could just see the Paisleys coming out the other side of this windsock, and I understood what it was about, you know. I understood the beauty of Paisley and why it had been chosen by an entire culture, being the counterculture, as a symbol of something so beautiful and wonderful. And it has meant something to me ever since, something powerful. And that's why this is the Paisley Penny Arcade, you know. Penny because that's all I can afford. So the sun to me is something joyous. It's something happy and wonderful. And Paisley's because they are creative and they are seeds of life and seeds of wonder. Yeah. In the Victorian age, they called them Persian cucumbers. Let's move on. The Aeon. I think this card is self-explanatory. An aeon is a very long period of time. And as one aeon ends, another aeon begins. These dinosaurs are just very happily munching their food. I'm guessing there may have been a dinosaur or two after hundreds of millions of years on this planet who saw that comet or asteroid hurtling its way toward the Earth, but most didn't even notice. They just kept munching. I read an article lately that said that the end of the dinosaurs happened literally within minutes. Do we even know? I hope so. But I don't think we're that close. But these poor guys. So this card to me is always about change. Change. And the last card of the Major Arcana, the universe. I've talked about this card before, but this card is about Crowley on his card. He presents the universe as a three-sided torus, T-O-R-U-S. And I'm a Taurus, T-A-U-R-U-S. So this is a sort of a, there's a couple of Tauruses here. I've just said that. It means nothing. But I actually tied this knot out of a strand of leather for some reason that I had. I'm not that fond of leather. But I had it, and I decided to try and tie a three-sided torus, which I did. I was actually going to try and, it's in a little box somewhere here I have, and I just decided I don't feel like digging through anything, especially since when I have vertigo, it leaves me feeling kind of beat up for the next couple of days. But I did tie it, and I looked at it, I held it up and looked at it and said, there's a universe. And I thought, so what? And I wondered if whoever created the universe, if anyone created the universe, did the same thing, held it up and said, okay, now, so what? I asked my dad once if he believed in God, and he looked at me as if I had just sprouted two other heads. And he said, of course I do. I said, do you think that he is interfering in our lives or helping us? And he said, I don't know. He said, I think he probably created this beautiful earth of ours and said, okay, now, let's see what you do with it. And I said, do you think he approves? He said, I think he's probably a bit disappointed. My dad was a veterinary surgical anatomy. He said to me, if you knew the anatomy of the knee and ankle of a horse, you would have to believe in God. And I thought, oh my God, he's a genius. My dad is a genius. He was a genius, by the way. He truly was. And he was a wonderful man. Sorry. God, I miss him too. God, I miss him too. It is hard. It is hard. But I have so many wonderful people in my life, and all of you, watching this, listening, are part of it and wonderful as well. So that is, the universe is everything. It's everything. And it is dependent upon how we look at it. And if we appreciate it And if we can't possibly understand it, can we? Oh, thank you. Thank you, Meg. You are so kind. Meg, your cards, I hope, are in production. I've been working with the people that make playing cards. Trust me, I have been working with them trying to get those cards up again and running. And so hopefully they will be printed very soon. Please be patient. I'm beginning to wonder hopefully they're going to be printed soon. Thank you so much. So that's that. We made it through the Major Arcana. Those are my cards, and here I am again. We did it. We did it. Yes, I know. It's only been a week and a half. Yeah, and they got a hold of me and said the cards are there's no pictures, Mo. And I asked them where'd they go because they used to be there, and they said nothing. They said, you need to put them back up there. So I put them back up there and I saved them. And they said, there are still no pictures there. And I just went, ay, ay, ay. Oh, I put them back up there. I resubmitted them. They, of course, said they're fine. So hopefully you will get them sooner than later, Meg. I'm guessing at least another week or so, maybe a little bit longer, but please be patient. And I don't know why they do what they do, but bless them. The quality is really amazing. So it's worth it. And now they're up there. Okay. My friends, and you are my friends. I love you all so much. Oh, thank you so much, Pamela. Thank you all. Incomprehensible the universe is. Yes, Yoda. Oh, the shirt. Thank you. Yeah, I love this shirt. This is so cool. It's called ice dyeing. Yeah, it's not tie dye. It's ice dyeing. Yeah. Oh, you have to be. Yes. Anything overseas, you do what you can. Oh, thank you, Anne. Yeah, thank you so much. Um, oh, bless you. Bless you. Oh, Anne, thank you. Um, yeah, I just think of myself as kind of a goof, to be honest. Uh, yeah, the shirt is cool. I just do what I do. I do what I do, and I'm glad I can share this stuff with someone who appreciates it. For most of my life, I've just been confused. I will be back next week. I think I may do some I Ching next week or something, and then we'll come back to the cards. I promise. I'm going to do the whole deck. Um, I think that's a good idea because what this does is it gives me a chance to tell you how I really feel about tarot. But I think a little break is in order for me, just for my head. Okay? Plus, it takes me a while to upload these cards to this program. Okay? All right. I truly, deeply love you all so much. Thank you. Until next week, peace, love, and I feel very good. Feel very good. Have a lovely week. A lovely week. And I'll be thinking about you all. And until then, we'll see you then. Okay? All right. Bye-bye.